If your first reaction to a problem is to blame the corporate office, you're already losing. Smart franchise owners know how to leverage their franchisor and not fight them. Most don't even realize what is available to them as a franchisee and what resources they have. My hope is that we can change that. My name is Colby, and I work with hundreds, if not thousands, of franchise owners across the country. And I've seen both sides. I've seen franchisees who get stuck and they stay stuck because they think that they have to figure this out on themselves or on their own. Or I've also seen the other side of it, franchisees who scale fast. And one of the big differentiators is because they leverage the power of the relationship they have with their franchise office. When coaching franchisees, I often talk about this as the internal relationship that they have, the relationship they have with their franchise system. Inside the Frangelic Growth System, this falls under what we call strategic relationship leverage. We talk about both external leverage and with community opportunities, strategic partners, things like that. But today, I want to talk specifically around internal relationship, and that relationship centered around the one with your franchisor. So my first point is follow the recipe. I don't know how many times I've heard franchisors say, stop trying to freestyle your business right out the gate or your franchise right out the gate. Follow the recipe. Every great cook starts with a recipe that someone else has put together, and then they add to it. But they don't do it until they've perfected the ability to perform or prepare the meal with the correct recipe. As a franchisee, you've been given the recipe of what this franchisor, this already existing business owner who has fought the good fight, has already had to go through the pains and wrestles of finding clients and finding new business, and they've created a plan and a process for you to follow. And if you follow it, it works. It works like clockwork. You just have to follow the recipe. The second thing is to ask better questions, not just complaints. If you've been a parent, you know how frustrating it can be when your kids come home from school and they're hungry and they look in the pantry and they say, there's nothing to eat, even though the pantry is full of food, right? We have to ask the right questions. We have to go to our franchisor and ask questions that'll actually give us the answers we're looking for. Some of the questions that I see franchisees asking that work are things like, who else in the network is getting real results? Who else in our franchise system is doing really well? The franchisor would love to connect you to them. The franchisor would love for you to emulate what they're doing. And the franchisor would love to see the two of you playing together and working together. Another question that I've seen franchisees ask is, what systems have we found work best for markets like mine? Each franchisee is in a different market. And the biggest complaint that I see franchisees make right out the gate is they will say, well, the franchisor started in this market. It's different here. It's different in this market. Okay, you're right. It is different in your market. And guess what? There are people who have locations that are in your unique market. And if they're not, the franchisor is here to help you and wants to figure out and find a solution that will help you. They're not going to just abandon you. They're not in the business of abandoning you. They just want you to put in some effort there. Another great question I've seen franchisees ask is, what templates or scripts do you think are being underutilized? This question is unique because sometimes there are written documents in the operations manual that no one's looked at. And the franchisor gave you this, you signed off on it as a franchisee, but you forgot that it's in there. You forgot the details that are in there. And so as a franchisee, ask those questions. Ask about what templates that are out there that you could grab and get access to, so you're not starting from scratch, and leverage those. Leverage the power of AI when it comes to this kind of stuff, because you can take what the franchisor has created and then you can throw it at ChatGPT and say, hey, I am actually in this market where the demographic or the psychographic or just the type of people that I interact with are more like this. Tell me how I could take this template or this process and utilize it in my market. You could even ask ChatGPT and just say, hey, this template is for Mesa, Arizona, and I'm in Pittsburgh. So give me a better way to use this in my target market. Another great point to think about is tapping into the network the franchisor has built. Sometimes your franchisor already has relationships with vendors, agencies, even managers, and again, top performing franchisees. You are a franchise. That means you're part of an existing network. You don't need to go out and try to build that network on your own. There are so many other ways for you to get those resources. Now, again, if you follow the recipe and you know how to follow the recipe correctly and you want to add to that, then by all means, add to that network. But so often I see franchisees who they start out, they launch the brand, and then immediately they're looking for their own network. They're looking for their own friends that are here locally that they want to utilize and they want to work with. The problem with that is the intentions are all well and good. I know that you're trying to support your local business owners and your friends, but sometimes the franchisor has negotiated some really good rates, some discounts, and sometimes the vendor that the franchisor's chosen already understands the brand guides, the rules around things that we can and can't say, speed to delivery. There's all kinds of things that they may have already worked out. Leverage that. Use that network. Use that first, then start to look elsewhere. Number 4, become the case study that your franchisor brags about. You want to get more support from corporate? Become a success story. One of my favorite examples of this is that I had a franchise that I purchased, and the franchisor came to me and said, look, I know you got this territory, and I wish you all the best, but I don't think you'll ever make any money in that market. Nothing excited me more than to hear this franchisor say this, because I wanted to be a success story. I wanted to prove them wrong, and we did. And we had a blast doing it. It was a lot of fun. And guess what? The franchisor and I got to celebrate in this win. It was exciting. It was fun. And because of that, it built a really good relationship between me and the franchisor. And I was able to get access to things and knowledge and information that other franchisees maybe weren't, because the franchisor knew they could trust me. They knew that I was here to help build the brand and not just to be a complainer. This way you move from being a complainer to a collaborator. That is way better. So the bottom line is your franchisor is not the enemy. Don't think of them as the enemy. Think of them as a resource, a lever, and a tool. If you learn to use that lever properly, the business, your franchisor is going to grow faster than almost anything else you can do on your own. So if you want to find out more about how we help franchisees leverage their franchisor relationship, check out the Frangelic Growth System. Click the link below or visit our website at frangelic.com and schedule a call. We'll walk you through and find out where you're stuck and what we can do to help get you in a place where you're growing, thriving, and again, building a healthy relationship with your franchisor.